Welcome, everyone. Thanks for coming out this evening on a beautiful evening. It's not dark and cold outside anymore. We're in this good weather, and I appreciate you taking the time to learn about what's happening with Stage 2 in Bay Ward. Um, it's a privilege to bring you this information and give everybody an update. I'll start with a land acknowledgement. We honor the Anishinaabe Algonquin Nation, First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. Ottawa is built on unceded Anishinaabe Algonquin territory. The peoples of the Anishinaabe Algonquin Nation have lived on this territory for millennia. Their culture and presence have nurtured and continue to nurture this land. The City of Ottawa honors the peoples and land of the Anishinaabe Algonquin Nation. The City of Ottawa honors all First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples and their valuable past and present contributions to this land. So it's been a while since we've had a full update to the community, and that's why I felt that this is a good time. And we're getting into before the summer, so I wanted to make sure people knew where things are at. It's very exciting overall, and I know I'm going to be hearing a presentation on Friday, for example, at the Transit Commission, and it's a joint meeting with the subcommittee on the LRT. So what we'll be hearing is about the entire system, and you're going to get a taste. We're focusing here on Bay Ward because that's your backyard, and that's what's happening here. So I'm going to introduce the team who are going to be speaking. And we've got Natalie Huneau from the Rail Construction Program Stakeholders Relations team, who will be providing an overview of the 7 stations in Ward 7 and specific work areas. And Rosanna Tier will be sharing information about Richmond Road Complete Streets project commencing this summer. Great news, starting this summer. Mary Ellen Gleason, West Project Manager for Stage 2, will assist with responses for the Q&A. So thank you. And I didn't introduce myself. I'm Teresa Kavanaugh, City Councillor for Bay Ward. And again, I welcome you all, and I'll pass it over to Natalie now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Welcome, everybody. I just want to reiterate for folks that may have joined a little bit later. So we thank you for your participation and we welcome questions. However, as there is a limited amount of time this evening, please email questions or comments to the Stage 2 inbox, and that can be found at stage2@ottawa.ca. And just for our help in managing the number of emails, there are a large number of people here this evening. We ask that you please use the subject line Ward 7 Update, May 29th, 2024. That email address and that subject line can be found in the chat box as well, just in case you didn't catch that. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera off and throw the PowerPoint presentation on. And let's get into it.
Natalie, I'm going to let you know that there's a little bit of trouble hearing you. If you can turn your mic up.
Let's see.
Is this any better? I'll take myself off of my headset.
Perfect. Thank you.
Much better.
Okay, sorry. Not sure why my headset microphone wasn't picking up. All right. Oh. Sorry, I'm somewhat being blocked by the top bar for Zoom, so stand by. One moment, please. All right, that should be a little bit better. There we go. Di, can you confirm you can see my screen?
Good to go. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Sorry for the delay, folks. Yes, so this is an update for Stage 2 LRT. Again, thank you all for being here this evening. So just to remind you of our eventual final alignment, or not final, but final for this stage of the project. Just to note, if you are taking a look, the area covered by Ward 7 in this diagram is covered by the blue and yellow, or the blue line with the yellow dots. Our agenda for this evening, so we're going to go through a Ward 7 construction update. We have some new photos as well as some update notes with regards to station construction. We're going to touch on the Highway 417 westbound on-ramp closure at Pinecrest, the 75 Cleary Deep Utility Works, Kitchissippi v. Macon work, the Richmond Cut and Cover Tunnel, as well as the Richmond Complete Streets project. And just at the end, we will also have a slide again with that contact email. So right now, our LRT station construction will continue in Ward 7 throughout 2024, with some stations nearing completion by the end of the year, which is very exciting. The light maintenance and storage facility is about 99% complete. Moody Station is at 86%, Bayshore at 57%, Pinecrest at 92%, Queensview Station 74%, Lincoln Fields 95%, New Orchard Station at 45%, and Sherbourne Station at 38%. So we're coming to completion on a few of those stations. I'm sure all of you living around the areas have been able to see that work taking place and coming to a close. So for our light maintenance and storage facility, testing and commissioning of the building at the LMSF is in progress. For Moody Station, the mechanical and electrical finishes, room finishes, elevator installation, concourse and ceiling installation is still ongoing, but there's definitely been some great progress. For Bayshore Station, we have construction of the foundation wall at the center station building, concrete foundation work at the South Station building is currently ongoing. Framing and insulation installation for the northeast concourse rooms is nearing completion, and work on the pedestrian tunnel continues. For Pinecrest Station, the elevator shroud installation is taking place, signage installation, service riser installation, and as well as mechanical and electrical finishing work is ongoing. At Queensview Station, installation of insulation and drywall at the Queensview Station North building, along with construction of the exterior walls continue. The concourse glazing is ongoing, and curtain wall support installation and mechanical and electrical finishes for Queensview Pedestrian Bridge is continuing. At Lincoln Field Station, interior finishes at the platform level and signage installation continue. Electrical panel installation along with installation of handrails at the end of the platform stairwell is complete. For New Orchard Station, we have structural steel erection for the East Concourse, which is complete, and is underway for the West Concourse. And work on the West Concourse roof has started. For Sherbourne Station, concrete work for the West Station and East Station platform walls is now complete, and work on the stairwells and concourse slabs continue. Just to make note, for all the photos presented, those were taken in April of 2024. So they are a fairly recent look at work that is ongoing and the status of the stations. However, reminding that it is April, some work might be a little bit more complete than when these photos were taken. So now we're going to touch on the Highway 417 westbound on-ramp closure at Pinecrest. So to complete construction of the permanent roadworks and the segment of the LRT guideway at Pinecrest Road, the westbound Highway 417 on-ramp from northbound Pinecrest Road, which closed on Monday, May 13th, is expected to reopen in early August. Once completed, the northwest ramp may be closed temporarily, and a public notice will be distributed in advance of that temporary closure. For 75 Cleary, so the 75 Cleary deep utility works, May to fall 2024, utility work to the east of 75 Cleary Avenue involving deep excavation, replacement of water main, storm and sanitary sewer infrastructure will take place. And as of October 2024, the temporary detour through the old Christie's restaurant parking lot will permanently close. And just to note in the picture, the highlighted box, that does show the area requiring those deep utility works. The Kitchissippi-Macon, so May and June, there will be backfilling of the tunnel along the KZM. For 2024 and 2025, construction of the permanent configuration of the KZM will be taking place. And this summer, 2024, construction of the Cleary pedestrian underpass will be continuing. For the Richmond Byron cut and cover tunnel, we're looking ahead to June 2024, which is shockingly only in a few days. Tunnel construction along Richmond and Byron will near completion, and once completed, tunnel backfilling will commence. And touching on the Richmond Road Complete Streets project, so preliminary work is expected to begin this year, and preliminary work is expected to begin this year between the east side of the bridge over the KZM and just west of Cleary Avenue. The multi-year project will involve backfilling of the LRT tunnel in the area, final paving of Richmond Road and Byron Avenue, construction of curbs, sidewalks, bus platforms and shelters, raised pedestrian crossings, segregated bike lanes, installation of street lighting, traffic signals and signage, tree planting, landscaping, and property reinstatement. Before I go on to our next slide, I just want to mention that Rosanna is going to step in and chat a little bit about the Richmond Road Complete Streets project. I'm just going to flip on to the next slide just to remind everyone of our email address. So if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to send it to stage2@ottawa.ca. We're looking forward to all the upcoming milestones, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for your continued interest. And Rosanna, I'm going to go ahead and close the presentation and hand it over to you.
Thank you, Natalie. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Many of you probably know me as Rosanna Baggs. I did get married in October, so you will now probably see my name pop up as Rosanna Tyrer. I am still here to help you in the exact same capacity. You will just have to update any emails that you have with me prior. Otherwise, anything that comes through the Stage 2 inbox, I will still be able to help you with. So I'm going to walk you guys through a role plan of what is being proposed for the Richmond Road Complete Streets. This project was originally going to take place post-construction of all of the LRT work. We are now, in order to get out of your hair quicker, we're advancing this work with starting some of the preliminary work this year and working into the next year and a bit. So as you can see, this is a very long roll plan. Don't fret, I will zoom in to certain areas, but I just wanted to give you kind of the high level bird's eye view of how far this construction is going to go. I'm gonna go from left to right. So left, it starts right at the Richmond Bridge, just where the bridge goes over the Kitchissippi all the way east, just past Cleary, so in front of 797 Richmond. I will be providing this roll plan to the councillors to share so that you can peruse at your leisure. So if I do go quickly and there's something more that you want to check out, you can do so. We are also going to be looking at putting together another web page / notification sign up group specific for the Richmond Road Complete Streets, just to make sure that no one is missed, especially for those individuals who are looking just to get information on this part of the project. So what you'll also see here is that we do have some trees and shrubs to the side. We're not going to specifically identify each and every little tree and which is where, but we did want to give an indication of the type of species that went in this area. In addition, you can't really see it on my screen, but there is a little disclaimer. I will note that this is overlaid on an aerial. The way in which aerials are taken, sometimes they're taken at an aerial from above. So you may notice things, for example, here where it looks like a driveway doesn't quite line up with the existing driveway. I can assure you that this driveway will on site line up with the proper site. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at whether or not some of these side edges line up exactly with what you see underneath. So it's more or less just to help reference where everybody is. So to start, I'm going to start backwards. Essentially, I'm going to go west to east. So we will have throughout the entire corridor, we're going to have separated cycle facilities and sidewalks. So if I zoom right in here, you can see the sidewalks are denoted with this gray-like hatching, whereas the cycle facilities are between the road and the sidewalks, denoted by the cycling nomenclature pavement markings. Right here, we will have the access to the Lincoln Fields area, the MUP that goes into there. We have our 1190 friends with their new aligned access, as well as the 1195 on the top. Their access will be reinstated to Richmond Road. You can see here, we get to Edgeworth. Edgeworth will remain closed and have a tie-in for both pedestrian and cycling facilities. At McEwen itself, the final alignment will be pretty much in between where it was a few weeks ago and where it is now. So we are in the process of getting all the underground infrastructure in for that. And the cycling and pedestrian facilities will tie into the existing, as well as the cycle facilities will have an on and off road transition between McEwen. So at the intersection, you can see that the cycling facilities will have its own dedicated crossing, as well as the pedestrians. We will be having bus stops with bus paths at various locations throughout this project. For this particular intersection, you'll have one on the far side on the northwest corner, and then one on the southeast corner for the opposite direction. As you can see through this area, we have some driveways and then the tree reinstatement along the way. Once we get, so this is one of the Ambleside apartment complexes and the used car dealership. There will be a raised pedestrian crossing, which we've had in the past. I want to bring attention to these, we call them shark teeth. So these little triangular pavement markings denote a raised crossing. So you will see that at a few of the intersections as well as some of the raised crossings through here. So at Hartley, the crossing will be raised. The other big change to this area is that the connection from Richmond to Richardson is being removed. There will be facilities to take people to Richardson Byron to get them down onto that road. Otherwise, they can continue on through to the station. So this intersection is the New Orchard intersection along with New Orchard Station. We will be reinstating the road up New Orchard. We'll be doing the same form of treatment, much like McEwen, where the sidewalks will be attached and the cycling facilities will have the on and off street transitions. It will also have the same treatments for crossings. The one thing that I am going to note for this, once again, we have the shark teeth at this intersection. That is because New Orchard Station will be raised. So this whole intersection, when you come to it, will have you go up and over. It will also be a pavement, a paver stone intersection, so that between the raised and the different type of material will have a traffic calming effect. So on the south, we can call it south leg of this intersection is where the courtyard for the station begins. There will be some on-street bus facilities to capture the local residents that are coming in and out of the station. There will be a always stop and some one-way stops along Byron as we go past the station, and on the north side you have your pedestrian and cycling facilities to carry on past. So once you get, so this is approximately at 10:25 and the Tim Hortons, there's going to be another raised intersection, sorry, not raised, raised pedestrian crossing, so that people at the east end of the station can get to the station, to the eastern courtyard, and as well as the bus stops for the local routes. So as you continue on, you can see that there's some more plantings for the Byron Linear Park. There is the Ancaster, I call it the egress from the Wood Park area. It will only be able to accommodate northbound to eastbound vehicles, so it'll be a no left turn at this location. There's also what you see here is a truck apron. It's a raised textured material so that it gives the narrowing effect. It's allowed in the event that fire trucks or garbage trucks have to make this corner, that they're not going over and damaging curbs or grass. What you'll also notice is that there are those shark teeth again. So again, the crossing for the pedestrian cyclings across this Ancaster connection will be raised as well. So again, in order to reduce the cut through traffic, you'll notice here at the Woodruff and Richmond intersection that the connections from Compton to Woodruff and Lockhart have been removed. There will be a pedestrian crossing at the Compton to bring people again from Byron into the linear park. What has also been accommodated is this driveway for the funeral home based on their procession for their services. They had a need to be able to have a circuitous route. You probably have seen on site that P gates have been installed and will be maintained. This will also allow for cyclists and pedestrians to make the cut through. The funeral home has graciously noted that they accommodate this movement for the residents through their property. When we get to the intersection of Woodruff and Richmond, Again, we still have the pedestrian and cycling facilities that are in their segregated crossings, as well as the north and south legs of Woodruff have the on-off transitions between the cycling facilities. We have some of the bus stops in either side. They're pretty close to where they are now. And then moving further to the east, we move into the Lockhart transition. So similar to both Richardson and Richmond, and Richardson and Byron and Compton, they will turn down with a pedestrian connection through it. We are now here. This is the northern section of Lockhart with the Poolorama. So there'll be a bus stop here as well on the other side with, again, another raised crossing. And the crossings between Byron and Richmond will also be raised. As you move further east, this is when we start to get into the Sherbourne station. As you can see here on either side, it does have the pavilions and the facilities for the bikes and pedestrians to move across it on the north side of the station, as well as some amenities on the south. So again, we have the controlled crossings on Byron. Sherbourne does have the small Paputa or kiss and ride on either side. These are not anticipated to have high volumes. This would be more or less you and your neighbors dropping off your loved ones on a rainy day kind of scenario, or picking up. So the last leg of this role plan is the Cleary intersection. So again, Cleary intersection will be just like New Orchard, where it is raised, as you can see by the shark teeth, and it will also have the Paverstone intersection, which will again add to the calming effect from the visual and vertical changes in the area. We also have, again, your segregated crossings for the different modes of transportation and your two bus stops on either side. And then it'll continue on and then tie into the existing street. So I know that's a lot to digest, and these are very small pictures for now. They will be released so that everybody can take a moment to check the areas that are of more particular importance to them. Again, if you see something on here, please, by all means, send us an email through stage 2. If you can use a clip it or good directions on exactly what you're looking at when you're doing so, that'll help a long way. Otherwise, I'm always welcoming one-on-one video chats where I can sit and walk you through in a smaller group. With that, I had the chat hidden, so I'm not sure what has popped up. Where did we go?
Thanks, Rosanna. Yeah, it's a ton of stuff, and but all very exciting. And I can tell you, I rode my bike home along that way, and I will look forward to having a separate cycle lane so that it's safe for everyone. Cars have their lane, cycles have their lane, pedestrians will have their space. So it's good stuff. Great. Is there another presentation, or are we ready for questions?
We can get into some of the questions.
Okay, thank you. Okay. I'll just go through what has been sent. We'll be reading questions. We don't read statements because we don't have time to read everything, but if there's a question, we'll pass it on. Corey's asking about the sidewalk and multi-use pathway side by side. That is actually so that cyclists have space and pedestrians have their own space. And certainly I've heard a lot from people who don't like MUPs because they're sharing them with cyclists. So pedestrians still have sidewalks, and I think that's going to be a good thing. And we encourage cyclists to use the pathway that is designed specifically for cyclists. And in terms of the complete street east of Cleary from Mike, just a reminder, and Barb's going to put it in the chat, but we are getting a connection at Golden for cyclists that is going to connect cyclists to all the way to Byron, and it's a cut through just at the side of the Ottawa Community Housing building on at Golden and Richmond Road. So there'll be a pathway that goes right to the Kitchissippi station, which is just outside of Bay Ward, just a little bit outside of Bay Ward. And we haven't been dealing with it tonight, but it's being worked on as well. So along Richmond, we're asking the city to work and improve the cycle infrastructure between Golden and Cleary. It's not part of the Stage 2 project. The Stage 2 project just promised to do the section that is been torn up, etc. And this part is not. But but you also have cycle lanes on Byron as well, and the multi-use pathway that goes down the Byron linear park. So those are all there. Okay. Tim is asking, are all the shark teeth crossings at stop signs or traffic lights?
No, they
Rosanna?
are only at locations where the crossing would be raised. So they're
Okay.
to indicate to drivers that they're coming towards something where they're going to start see a vertical direction change.
Yeah, which of course slows them down. Thank you. I think we're going to appreciate that very much. Where's the access to Byron from Richmond Road? Does Byron still link to Woodruff? No,
No, it will no longer connect.
no, on either side. Is there a barrier between cycle path and the walking path?
Mary Ellen will have to confirm the details, but it will be designed typical to most segregated paths with usually a tactile detection strip.
Yeah, I think we'll see something similar to what we see on Scott Street, which is the like at grade pavers. So you see the delineators between the two, but it's not
Yeah.
raised.
Yeah, I've been using the Scott Street one, and it's got brick, so it's tactile. So you're very clear that you're not veering into the other lane. So you stay in your lane, and you're not interfering with pedestrians. So it works quite well. Is there going to be more trees planted at Edgeworth and Richmond?
The exact landscape planting plan is not available, but what has been shown today is pretty approximate to what was there in the first place. It is a little deceiving. There is land at the end of Edgeworth that is vacant that is all grassed. That is a separate property from the right of way and is still being monitored by the environmental group of the city.
Thank you. Doug is asking if there's any more information on the map on the west side of Holly Acres between the new train bridge 416 ramp, where the 416, 417 ramp will be open.
Yes, so the west MUP at Holly Acres underneath is anticipated to be opened up later this summer, where we would then flip to working on the east side.
Okay, thank you. Marianne is asking, why is there so much drainage work underway in front of 727 and 701 Richmond Road?
I'll defer that one to Mary Ellen.
Sure. So there's typically two different reasons why we're doing utility work. One is to relocate existing utilities where there's conflict between the construction that we have to do for the train and what existing infrastructure is in the ground. So right in that area, you have the tunnel that is crossing from Byron Linear Park across Richmond Road towards the parkway and towards the river. So all of those existing utilities that were in the ground had to be relocated in order to make room for the train crossing. And then just to note, there's going to be utility work all the way along Richmond and Byron as part of the Complete Streets project, just because it's going to be renewal of all of the existing infrastructure there, so that when the road is paved, that everything below grade is new and the work is complete.
Great, thank you very much. John is asking, what is the anticipated date for reopening the Cleary-Richmond Street intersection?
Mary Ellen?
Yeah, I think that's going to be next year. So I think that what we see is the utility work in this area is very complex. So that utility work is likely to continue well into the fall, and then it'll be next year by the time they get around to doing the kind of surfacing work at the intersection level.
Okay. Thank you. And the other exit is going to be closed in October, isn't it?
Sorry,
The detour?
at Cleary?
I think she's you're referring to the one at Christie.
Yeah, the Christie.
Oh yes, sorry, that'll be removed by October, I think was the date that was said.
Okay, thank you. Charles is asking, what noise generating surface infrastructure, if any, can residents expect to see above tunnel sections of the Western LRT, like ventilation systems, pumps, etc., and where?
I think that's something we're gonna have to take away and look at a map for. Most of the work or most of the infrastructure is below grade, but I think I'll just want to do a double check before we provide a response to that.
I believe so. Charles, if you want to send in an email, to stage 2, they can be more detailed about that. Thanks. Charles is also asking, what are the city's plans for the future of the expropriated property of 747 Richmond? Well, that's not a stage 2 LRT question. That property is one of the 20 sites the city has identified as possible for affordable housing, but no plans have been made and no plans will be made until the stage 2 construction is well finished. So that has been the plan all along.
Sorry, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna jump in because I think there was a question here saying Christie access will be closed before Cleary will be reopened, and I did want to clarify that temporary access to Cleary to 747 in the Unitarian House will be provided. It's just that the Cleary intersection will not be in its final configuration until next year.
Okay, got it. Max is asking, I understood there was going to be a pedestrian bridge underground above ground crossing Richmond. I didn't see that in the plans. Is that still in the plans? If so, where will it be located?
To my knowledge, there was never an underground connection under Richmond.
I'm not aware. There are underpasses from Cleary to the waterfront, which is going under the parkway. That's new. So perhaps you're referring to that. I'm not sure. Eric is asking, can someone share the final alignment of the Kitchissippi Mikan final alignment?
Yes.
Eric missed the beginning of the meeting.
So I'll just say again, generally, so we are working towards getting role plans for the new parkway alignment, for all the connectivity, for the landscaping, but these drawings are very labor intensive to produce. So as they are generated, we will be sending them out because of the intricacies of Ward 7 and a lot of the interaction zones. We will be focusing around again the KZM around Lincoln Field. So we will get that stuff, and as soon as we have it available, and I'm pushing the team as much as possible, but we also have to keep in mind that the same people that are drafting these documents are also the ones that are doing the drafting for all the finalizations and having to do the reviews for the construction that's happening now. So they're pulling a bit of double duty, but we will get that out as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Jackie's asking, could you please show us the cycle and pedestrian pathway from Cleary in Richmond and the river.
So that will be included when we get the ZM role plan. Mine
Yeah.
unfortunately only goes so far up Cleary.
No, appreciate that. And we all want to see it. We can see that it's being worked on. Big sections have been done. And we'll keep you updated, especially the people who live on Cleary who are particularly interested in it. And I know that there's going to be further presentations. Thank you. Mike is asking, when will the surface work along the river between Cleary and Dominion be completed? In short, when will I be able to once again walk straight down to the river from public access on Westminster Skeed? Note that I'm not asking about when the train will work, but rather the surface work.
Mary Ellen?
Yeah, we're hoping kind of end of the 2025 construction season or kind of spring, summer 2026. But we're just starting that work now, so it'll really depend on how the construction season goes this year.
So to that point too, because of the length of this project, some sections will be reinstated faster than others. Some places are used as swing space for other work and don't necessarily get reinstated as fast as other sections that are kind of over off and not disturbed, so that the contractor doesn't damage anything, doesn't continue to block access, damage trees, that kind of thing. So you might notice a section looks pretty, but it's connected to nothing or two different work sites. And that's kind of the reason why, is that the reinstatements will happen in segmented sections. We will, once the opening is known, we'll be sharing it with the community through a notice.
Believe me, we're all anxious, but we want it done right, and it can be difficult to wait, but it's worth it for sure.
There's nothing worse than opening up a path only to close it a week and a half later to do a different part of work.
Yep, definitely. Stephen's asking, why is Bayshore Station only 57% complete?
So anecdotally, I could say it's a very, very, very tight site to try to get any work done. There is a lot of utilities jammed under the ground, not only between MTOs, hydros, water, and the existing infrastructure for the mall, but the existing bus station as well. So we've kind of had to do a work here, then move over here, and then start here and move around. So it's been a bit of one of those puzzles that you move to fill the spaces, and a lot of considerations that have had to be taken into consideration once the hole was dug. So once we could get our eyes on everything, to make sure that the as-bills were showing us exactly what was there, and then being able to do the work, move over, do the work in another section. So I don't know, Mary Ellen, if there's anything you wanted to add.
Yeah, maybe just that this is the only station in the West where we are doing a partial rehabilitation of the existing station. So there was the existing Bayshore station, there's sections of the building that we're adding additions onto, there's sections of the building that we have to build brand new, but that adds a kind of a very complex layer on top of just a typical building construction where you're doing a lot of interfacing with something that was built previously and on the same footprint of something that was already built. So it is probably one of the most complex stations that we do have to build, but they're working really hard on it.
Yeah, thank you. It's a tight spot there. And there's going to be further construction with the buildings being brought into the area as well in the future. Tom is asking, have there been traffic studies regarding vehicle traffic on the section of Richmond Road with proposed new residential developments?
So those would have been any new proposed developments, they would be responsible for providing their own analysis of what their proposal is done. There's only so much forecasting that the LRT project can do. We can take the assumptions that certain areas are zoned to a certain level, but that doesn't stop a developer from coming in and proposing something different with an increased density. I think some of you have seen that where they've gotten increased building heights. They have to prove themselves that they can still be handled, but from a higher level, the traffic study related to the functional ability of what is being proposed would have been at a lower level.
Okay, thank you. Sue's asking, how can we get the tree planting plan? We have been led to believe that we would be getting this in advance of the meeting. Sue, this is still being worked on. I'll let Rosanna answer.
So as I mentioned, we are getting more specifically to the landscaping. We have gotten very, very close on a lot of places. Some are done, but translating those very messy, congested, almost illegible drawings into something that's visually appealing to see for anyone who's not a landscape architect. Quite honestly, I get bogged down trying to look at these things. So we're working at doing that, but at the same time, not all of them are completely finalized. The way in which this whole project works is the design goes along as we start building. So as we dig a hole, we know by approximation how big the hole has to be. That we start the design at the building of the hole, and then we get to the point. So the design is now finalized for the station, and we've dug the hole. We found all the stuff that we couldn't have known was there, made accommodations technically for that kind of infrastructure, and said, okay, now we're confident that this is how things are going to be above and below ground. That allows the landscaping architect to start doing their things, because they have to keep things in mind. Like, we can't plant certain trees over the tunnel. We have to keep these distances. Hydro, for example, won't let us put certain things over their duck banks. You don't want things too close to existing trees or right-of-ways, and there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to landscaping. So they are getting towards the end of finalizing those. And the other thing to keep in mind is every different segment has different stakeholders involved. So the NCC has the authority on their property. They also have a different type of replanting, not much different, but different enough that there's different things to consider when doing the plan for there versus down Byron Linear Park. And so we are working forward for the whole alignment to get these plans in place. And they're also being done in stages, so that the ones that need to be done first for the areas that will be reinstated first get done first. So anything that is going to be a long lead time, like, around Lincoln Field Station or the Connaught Portal, where they're going to be in that area because the tightness of the area for a little longer than some other areas, those ones will come a little sooner. And as I mentioned, the labor intensity of having to make these drawings, such as the roll plan that you saw for Richmond Complete Streets, does take time. And so as they are generated, we will be releasing them out to the public. So I promise they will come. I get it. You'll get it the next day.
Thanks, Rosanna. I know it's something everybody wants to see. We want to get back to green for sure.
Yeah, your first one you get is Richmond Complete Streets.
It's great news. Thank you. Corey's asking for Bayshore. Can you tell us more about the pedestrian tunnel?
Mary Ellen, I'll defer that to you.
Sure. So it is for emergency egress only. It is not something that passengers are going to be using to typically access the station. It goes from the south platform to the north platform. So typically what you're going to be doing if you are going from the south platform to the north platform is utilizing the pedestrian bridge that goes over top of the guideway. And then for complex building code reasons that I wouldn't be the best to speak to, the size of that existing pedestrian bridge was not adequate to meet building code requirements for if an incident happened on the south platform. And for safety reasons, the egresses do not have people crossing the tracks in this area. And so there was an emergency tunnel built in the event that something does happen, that there would be an egress route for people that way. Hopefully that answers that.
Okay, thank you. Was there an update in this presentation from the Moody LMSF to the Kitchissippi Mican? I've seen only part of the KCM until this moment. I'm curious about the MUP connections around Queensview Station and Connaught Park area. It's from Eric.
So we didn't show the segments of track. We were focusing in on the stations. Eric, if you do send stage 2 an email, I have a drawing that shows all the MUP connections in that area that I can share with you.
Okay. Thanks. Giselle's asking, why did the LRT tunnels get filled in prior to electrical, sewage, and drainage installation?
That's a big question, and it's hard to answer without knowing if there's a specific incidence that's being referred to. Generally speaking, if the utility was in direct conflict with the construction, it would get relocated first. But I would say most of the utility infrastructure that we're moving into now is outside of the footprint of the tunnel. So the priority for the project was to start construction of the tunnel. And so a lot of what you've seen over the last few years was installation of the SOE, the construction of the tunnel. And now that it's starting to get backfilled, we are able to move to other work zones. And you're seeing the utility work on the outside of that. I would say that typically the utilities are installed as they do backfill, and there's specific examples of that, but really it's kind of utility specific and location specific.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I guess further asking, the utilities that is being reworked will be below ground?
Yep. Yeah, everything will be below ground.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, maybe you send in an email and we'll do a double check on hydro. There used to be overhead hydro in Byron Linear Park, and I think that all of the relocations we've done kind of at the start of the project put that underground in Richmond Road. But if you still have questions, please follow up and we'll double check that.
Okay, okay. Giselle, if you want to have any further explanations, please write to stage 2. Thank you. Rick is asking about the MUP on the west side of Holly Acres. It's open, but no signals indicating traffic turning west onto 417. When will this be fixed?
So I believe this was one of the questions that was sent in by the Crystal Beach Community Association, and we have forwarded it to the city signals to review.
And I'll just note we are working on the plans to be able to install those signals, but I think the key words here is in reality. The MUP is not open, so please do not use the MUP. I think there's signage in place showing that the MUP is closed because that signal is not in place, so that is not a safe crossing of the ramp. So please follow the signs that are on site.
I did notice that. Thank you. Kevin's asking, what is the concrete building just east of New Orchard Station on the other end where the tunnel is open?
So I'm hoping that this can come in via an email. I've been flipping through the drawings and don't have a clear answer for that. At the platform level, it's a lot of operational building stuff, but if you wouldn't mind following up in an email, we can get confirmation of that in writing.
Thank you. Don is asking, when will the Parkway underpass at Clary be completed?
Yeah, VR 40 there. The construction of the structures will probably be complete before the construction of the parkway is done. So I think probably the intent of this question is, when is the pathway going to be open, more so than when the structure is going to be open. And I'll have to confirm with the staging that we have for the permanent construction of the parkway whether it's possible to have it open next year. But generally speaking, the whole parkway won't be complete until end of 2025 or into 2026.
Okay, thank you. Rick is asking, is reverse curve at McEwen West going to cause more LRT axle problems?
I wouldn't be able to comment on that specifically, other than we do not have turns. Like the radius of all of the turns in west are significantly less than the radius of the turns on stage 1.
Yeah. I have raised that issue, Rick, with Mike Morgan in terms of the fact that it's a curve. And I know that they're very aware of concern, obviously, for curves because of stage 1. So if there's any further information you want, just please write. Thanks. Erica's asking, will any of the pathways open up this year around Queensview Station, such as the Severn Avenue MUP connection?
I don't think that they'll be ready this year, no.
We're encouraging it, and we keep asking too. Thank you.
Yeah,
Kevin's asked,
we've made note that the Severn Avenue connection is an important one for the community, and have asked for that one to be expedited as much as possible. But there is some considerations that have to be taken into with the OC Transpo depot and their gates and their property. So we have to navigate those challenges in order to be able to provide the connection.
okay. Kevin's asking, at the open air part of the tunnel just west of Sherbourne Station, there are very unattractive metal grate-like railings. Are those permanent? And if yes, will those be part of the open air part of the new Orchard Station?
I think that's going to be another one where we're going to have maybe a picture submitted so that we can know exactly what is being referenced.
Okay. Are those the structures used during construction? It sounds like it. I don't know.
Again, a
Yeah, I would
picture
say,
probably help.
yeah, anything that's like at grade right now you're seeing is probably temporary. If we're talking about the steel beams that go from one side of the tunnel wall to the other side of the tunnel wall, those are the permanent stretch, and those are structurally required. And those are in the open air sections of the station. But yeah, agree with Rosanna. If you follow up with a photo, we can confirm.
Okay. Hey, Kevin, thank you. Mike is asking, is there any plan to beautify the LSMF and suggestions of who could do this, such as artists or schools?
There's no plan to change the building at this time.
Thank you. And it should be noted that nothing can change. It's not part of the city's infrastructure at this point. It's still part of the plan. Peter's asking, will you be discussing the timeline for the Connaught Hanlon landscaping?
The Connaught Hanlon landscaping will be occurring towards the end of the project, just due to the space constraints in that area. The landscaping will be one of the last things to be done.
Okay. Jackie's asking about the pedestrian access from the south end of Erie. She understood it was open today and couldn't find it.
Okay, I will have to go to site tomorrow. I had people go to site today and confirm that everything was in place as per the drawings that I shared with your office to be shared with her. So I will go take a look, but it should all be there.
Okay, thanks, Rosanna. And yes, Jackie, we'll look into it. Thanks. Rick is asking, what is the option to the Holly Acres MUP? I'm not going to read the comment. This is in regards to what's the option for bikes on Holly Acre. I believe it's the east side is the option.
Yep.
And I agree, it's kind of bumpy. It's not perfect by any means. So yeah, it's not perfect by any means. It's I've been on it, Rick. So we're hoping to get the west side finished up soon. And Giselle's asking, when will you release the tree landscaping plan? Will this include the NCC landscaping plan? Again, Roseanne?
As soon as I get them, you will get them. They'll probably trickle over the next year.
Thanks. And I will share them as soon as we get them. I think we've raised that, and it's understood that's really important to the community. Eric is asking, are the bus loops at Lincoln Fields and Pinecrest stations to be completed this year or into 2025, as well as when is the demolition plan for the old Lincoln Field station, this year or next?
Mary Ellen, that one will be for you.
Yep. So we're expecting to see some staging for the Pinecrest bus loop this year, and that may carry over into next year. The permanent bus loop for Lincoln Fields, we're expecting to see most of the construction happen this year, but discussions are still ongoing with when that will be open. So the current plan is that the old Lincoln Fields station, because it's still actively in use by OC, will not be demolished until the trains are running to be able to provide the service before the trains are running. That plan may change in the future as we kind of develop the Lincoln Fields bus loop plan, but that is the current plan right now, not until after the trains are running.
Thank you. John is asking, he was a little late coming in. Can you please let us know where all the documented public available plans are available? He's reviewed the Yuvata website, but I can find only high-level stuff. Appreciate if this was available at this point for the most up-to-date plans.
All the LRT information has migrated to the OC Transpo website. So everything related to stations and whatnot are there. The Richmond Road Complete Street Roll Plan that I shared earlier will be shared with the councillor, but we are also going to make a specific section on the site for the Richmond Complete Streets. And when that's up and running, we'll share the link with the councillor for her to share through her e-bulletin. And that way, anything related specifically to the Richmond Road Complete Streets will be there.
Thank you, Rosanna. I don't know if this is a name, Data. When will we expect Ashley Street to reopen? I'm not
So
following.
Ashley Street is closed. I think it's just on the other side of the highway, so not technically Ward 7, but yeah, Ashley Street is closed in order to facilitate the bus detour, and that will not be reopened until after parallel service.
Okay, sorry if I didn't recognize the name right away. Okay, that's not in Bay Ward. Donna's asking, when will we see the implementation plan and milestones for Richmond Complete Street crossing, etc.?
Good question. We are still finalizing the exact staging approach and timelines for everything. As mentioned, the Richmond Complete Streets was originally planned to go after all the track project was done. We've accelerated that now. So now that we're doing so, we just have to see how that plays in with all the other work that still needs to be done with the track and tunnel and stations. So once we have a plan, we will share it with the councillor, and would not be remiss to share it with you guys again publicly in another one of these meetings.
Thank you. Any thoughts on when Moody 417 crossing MUP will be fixed?
I would need more detail about that.
Okay, is that is there any changes going to happen to the 417 crossing at Moody?
So I think this might be in relation to the question about the the MUP and cycling signals that were mentioned.
Or maybe
Moody?
the NCC closure.
Maybe.
For Moody crossing.
We're talking about the bridge then, maybe.
Okay.
The overpass.
The overpass. Yeah, I will have to take that back.
Okay. Thank you. Paul is asking about his questions that he'd sent in about bike lanes on the Moody 417 overpass.
So we did receive quite a number of questions in advance of this meeting. So we did take those questions to help formulate some of the information that we would share tonight and what we give updates on. Unfortunately, we did get a lot, and we got quite a few that were very technical and needed a lot of resources, but came in too short notice to this meeting. So anyone who did write any kind of questions in advance, if we can't answer them tonight or can't get to them tonight, it's not that we don't want to answer you, it's we don't have the exact information at hand, and we want to make sure that we give you the full response you're due. So we will be responding back to those who did provide the questions, and in addition to the questions from this, we will provide together a little Q&A so that everybody has the written out versions of what we need to answer.
Thank you. Terry's asking, when will Carling Avenue intersection and roadway by Lincoln Fields be repaired?
Marielle?
Yeah, we don't have a date for this yet. It's going to probably tie into completion of the bus loop in that area for kind of the right access right at Lincoln Field. Yeah, if you email in, well, you can get confirmation, but it's not looking like this year.
Thank you. What is the city doing to address the proliferations of rats in the neighborhood that have emerged with LRT construction?
I do construction and I don't do rats, so unfortunately that's not a question for me and my group. We can always take that back and see if we can get anyone else who knows an answer to that to provide an update.
I've been passing those on to Shelley McDonald so that she is aware of it. Generally speaking, if there's a source of the city source of rats, they do baiting. However, we also send out information for people on how to control their own properties, which is essential. The city can do things such as rat baiting or whatever on their property, but on your own properties, you need to be mindful that leaving out any kind of food will attract rats, and it's important for everyone to cooperate and do something on that. So I have been in contact with the city on issues related to that. Thanks. Corey is asking, for Bayshore, will the elevator speed and capacity be improved to what was there originally? And are there any changes to the pedestrian overpass between east and west? Because it takes a long time and it's many stairs.
I will have to take this one away and confirm with the stations group.
Okay, so that's related to the Bayshore Station. Fair question, Corey. So they'll do a little digging for you. Thank you. Stephen's asking, does all the landscaping have to be completed before trains start running?
Absolutely not. We will reinstate landscaping at a point in which we are confident that we will not have to take that area over again, so that we don't destroy and waste the trees and plantings that have been done. So as I mentioned earlier, some places will get reinstated sooner, and those will be the areas that we are confident that we're not going to need to come back to do other work.
Thank you.
That also includes MUPs. But saying we don't want to lay asphalt down just to turn around, rip it up, or drive over it and damage it again.
Correct. Houston's asking, any news of when the Lincoln Fields directly in front of the west of 1190 Richmond will be restored, landscaped? Any chance it can be on the same schedule as Richmond Road? Again,
that goes with the same response that I had. As soon as we know that we can get out of there and not have to redisturb anything that we reinstate, it will be done. And if I hear of anything along those lines, I will share it.
Thanks. Erica's asking what the timeline is for the Pinecrest and Queensview Drive MUP connections and complete street intersections. Also, will the sidewalk that abuts Leon's and the Queensview station be completed this year?
It's possible. It's a small scope, but I wouldn't be able to confirm exactly right now. We'd have to take that one back.
Barb and I have been in contact with the city on that, so um, we've had questions from the community on it, and we're working on getting answers as well on sidewalk and cycle infrastructure on Queensview. So, but we don't have complete answers yet, but we will keep people informed when we have it. And Eric is asking, will the back of the OPS building get reinstated this year? The guideway was a large section of wall, has a large section of wall missing. The back of the OPS building.
On Queensview, I think.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Queensview.
Yeah, so there's a section of wall there that's not poured to be able to provide access to the tunnel. So the construction that's happening right now in that section of the tunnel is the plinths, the prep for the rail construction. And as soon as rail is installed in that area, they're gonna pour that section of wall and we'll be able to do the reinstatement.
Okay, got it. All right. Good question. Okay. Lucas is asking, I appreciate the amount of vegetation that is being proposed for the stretch of Richmond Road. Will there be maintenance plan, watering plan for newly planted vegetation?
So long story short, every time a contractor does the construction project and installs any kind of reinstatement for seed, sod, plantings, trees, there is a warranty period. It's different for all the different materials. That will be the case for this. In the case that it is planted on private property, there will be a maintenance notice given to property owners on care that will be need to be maintained for their property. So again, it will be very different for all the different areas, different types of materials, different trees, different things. But yes, in the long and the short, there is a requirement for maintenance for warranty purposes.
Thanks. Corey's asking do you know if there will be a pedestrian pathway access to Bayshore Station from Woodridge, 90 Woodridge, rather than having to go all the way around where it splits to the mall or station? So
Just looking up exactly where it is.
we had asked for a pedestrian crossing on Woodridge to go to the station.
Yeah,
Marcel knows what I'm talking about.
I think that this is kind of the property that's adjacent to the bus loop, and there isn't any straight access there because it's on private property.
yeah.
Okay. Because of the projects that are going to be going in, there will be routes on the properties. There's two separate properties that are being developed there. One that's owned by the mall. Well, actually, it's been now sectioned off, but and also the Fergus Lee property or Cora Village. And so a total of 4 high-rises are going in there. There is walkways built into these site plans for both sets of buildings. There's two sets of high-rises. So so there's pathways that will be going around the buildings or through the property in the case of the Cora Village property. We can get more information once the site plans are confirmed, but we don't have that yet. Glenn is asking, any chance of a monthly newsletter or blog about what is happening and what is coming? I'm not looking for a commitment, just to get excited about what is happening. Well, Glenn, we put it in our newsletter when Stage 2 gives us information, particularly about what's happening in our area. We put it in the Bay Ward Bulletin, which comes out every Friday. So we keep you as updated as possible. You can subscribe to notices for Stage 2. They have a subscription process, and you'll also get updates about East and South and all the rest. So do you have anything to add, Rosanna?
So Di did add the OC Transpo link for the Stay Connected Here section, and I just posted the high level of the page for the train extension. So anything related to the trains, the station will be located at this location. That's also where you can go and sign up for the notices per specific stations. And then, as you said, your newsletter. What I know, Teresa knows. We're very open, transparent. You have a question, you can contact us at the Stage 2 email box. If you want to talk to me specifically, shout out my name in that email, and I can be more than happy again to jump one-on-one to talk. I am happy to come to sites to meet people. I know some people are very, visual and like to see that. We can always, the more information I get, the more information I can gather for you. I'm happy to do it. I have no problem sharing anything that I have that I can. As I mentioned before, this type of project is always ever evolving, and it's not like your typical design complete. Then we go on. It's a design build in progress kind of project. Things come out in drips and drabs. In our situation, we have in Ward 7 alone, we have multitude of stakeholders that we need to get approval from, MTO, NCC, and so on. So as much as we want to give you everything, sometimes it's a bit of a waiting game, but trust me, I don't have anything more than you do. We do share what we can, and I'm always open to any kind of questions or comments whenever you need.
Yep, I really appreciate it. We've been working, our team has been working with Rosanna now for 4-5 years. And yeah, it's been a great relationship. It's been a huge help. Rosanna was brought in because of the complexities. We couldn't answer all the questions, and the team needed more expertise. And Rosanna has been a great link between what's happening with the project and putting it in layman's terms, and going to site and see problems if they arise and as they arise, and trying to fix things. This is a huge system. We're just talking about the Bay Ward part. And it is the most complex section of the Stage 2 by far.
Yeah.
I talk to my colleagues all the time, and nothing comes near it.
Most stations, most dense residential areas, most population. It's been very interesting. Again, I know we said we would get back to everybody with the answers to the questions that have either been provided in this chat or in advance of this meeting. It will take a little bit of time. Like I said, some of these are a pretty deep dive for us to get the specialists to look into it. So please bear with us. It'll probably be a few weeks before we can turn some of these around if we have to. Maybe we'll send it the ones that we do have ready, and maybe a few more will come. So again, if you have any questions still after this meeting, Stage 2 email is a really good way to get a hold of us. There's a bunch of us that always have our finger on that email. So regardless, it will be reviewed and passed on as quickly as possible.
I'm particularly proud, can I say it, that in this industry, to have the whole team here for Stage 2 are all women, and with a ton of expertise, and I couldn't be prouder. We're very well served with their knowledge base, and it's been great working with them, believe me. And like I said, we're the most affected ward because of the complications, the digging, the number of stations. It's by far the most intensive area, but we will be the beneficiaries after, and that's something to be proud of. One more question here. I think this is our last, and we're going to wrap up soon. Paul's asking about the partly completed path on the north side of Guideway and underneath Richmond Road in the Bayshore Mall. Please advise when it will be open and finished and open. Sounds like a Mary Ellen question.
We don't have a date for that yet. So yeah, that section you're talking about underneath the old like where the bus bridge is. So we still have to build them up to Richmond Road. And then there's a city project that has to come in, and then we have to do work at the intersection. So there's still a fair amount of work and coordination that's gonna have to happen for that. And I think we're currently slating that in for 2025. But it's still tentative.
I understand there's utility work that's part of that as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's the gas that's coming through, and that work is starting shortly. Yeah, in that section between the off ramp and Richmond Road.
Okay. All right. I knew there was an extra complication because all these questions we've asked before, believe it or not, my team, just ourselves, because we wanted to know. And I go around the ward all the time on my bike and to check things out. And so I come back with questions all the time. So you're not the first ones. This has been great. It's been very, very helpful. I feel like we've had a lot more information. As you can see, things are moving along. A lot of the delays that were happening earlier, things are moving a lot faster now. This is the exciting part. A few months ago, I did the walking tour inside the tunnel, and it was just mind-blowing to see it. And the tracks are getting laid down. That's like when it becomes real. So
this summer will be this summer and next will be the most progressive construction work where you'll see actual results of what's being done, not just a hole. So everything's going to grow fast.
Yeah. And I know we're all excited, and when the Trillium line opens too, it gives us a glimpse of the working station, a little bit ahead of ours, of course. I think that will be very helpful to all the students out there that go to Carleton, etc. That'll be very helpful. Airport connection. It's moving forward. So be excited, be patient, be excited, but keep the questions coming to stage 2. We appreciate it. We appreciate you taking the time this evening. There's a lot of you, and they're great questions. I'm glad you're curious, and I'm glad you made the time tonight. So thank you to Rosanna, Di, Mary Ellen, Natalie, and to Barb and Sheila from our Bay Ward team as well. Thank you all for coming out. Great work.
Thanks, Counselor, for having us out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.